Thank you so much, guys, for tuning to this brand new video. In this video, I'm going to show you a MAGA host turned, and it's a try not trailer challenge as well. What President Trump just said live on call, live on camera, and he was live. First of all, take a look at this important clip, guys.
An interview with conservative Newsmax host Greta Van Susteren, Donald Trump's tenuous grip on reality totally slipped, just slipped the leash, and he had some sort of psychotic break on live TV where his words were totally out of alignment with reality as we understand it, ranging from his polling numbers to the economy to foreign policy to the Iran war. And we have to talk about it because he's the president of the United States and we're stuck with this lunatic who's not just, again, a liar and a moron, but in some ways just outright delusional for the next 3 years. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, folks, brace yourselves because even by Trump standards, what you're about to hear is pretty damn crazy.
There will be very little voting cheating if we do the Save America Act. And the way they're going to do that is to terminate the filibuster.
So let's start right there. The SAVE Act, right? This is something that Donald Trump has been ranting and raving about, although the effects of the SAVE Act, if passed, are questionable in terms of what the partisan effect would be. Now, the practical effect would be it would keep a lot of people from voting because it increases the hurdles to properly, under this new legislation, register to vote. Like, in order for you to prove that you're eligible to vote, it would radically increase the burden upon you, including vis-a-vis passports and birth certificates and things of that nature. Number one, right? Number two, it's a solution in search of a problem because outcome determinative voter fraud in federal elections is non-existent, right? Does voter fraud exist? Yes, but it also existed in elections Trump won. So unless we're going to delegitimize those, unless we're going to, recant those and say Trump didn't actually win those elections, unless we're going to be universal here, it's really not even worth talking about. And the more important fact is, even though there was voter fraud in every election, no amount of voter fraud occurred in those elections to change the outcome, right? So you have the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society that have been eagerly looking into this problem for years to try to justify tamping down on voting rights. And the best they can find is like a few dozen examples in federal elections that comprise millions and millions and millions and millions of votes over a span of 30 years. In other words, it's like a 0.00000000000 ad infinitum 3% voter fraud. And unless you have evidence of outcome determinative voter fraud, there's no reason to put hurdles between the American eligible voter and voting. Trump wants to do that because he believes that will help him in the Republican Party. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, because some people believe that it will actually put a greater burden on Republican voters because Republicans are less likely, according to statistics, to have the necessary documentation that this law would require to prove citizenship, right? So it could backfire even if it passed. But it's not going to pass because the Senate Republicans say that there aren't enough votes to break the filibuster. You'd have to have a majority, and they fear what a Democratic Senate and Democratic president could accomplish if they break the filibuster. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now, with that aside, let's move on to the next clip.
And it is a problem. I'm not on the ballot. And I have to convince, everyone says if I was on the ballot would win in a landslide. I have some of the best poll numbers I've ever had. And the war is actually, Harvard-Harris just came out with a poll. Stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon is a positive thing, not a negative thing.
Why 65% of Americans are disapproving this war? President Trump is saying it's a positive, and 65% of people are disapproving the US-Iran war. 65% Americans and almost 60 and 65% people believe economy is not going well after the war. And still President Trump is very confident. He says, everybody's facing inflation due to this war, even in USA, not just in USA, outside the world as well. Everybody is facing inflation. But what President Trump is just saying, during election campaign, he promised that I will cut gasoline prices to half, 50%. But now he criticized Biden, he criticized Democrats, previous government for the higher prices. And that's it. Trump is confident and he's saying it's always positive, it's positive everywhere. But the people, more than 50%, they are disapproving each and every policy of President Trump.
So this is where I mean that Trump is he's having a psychotic break. He's just losing grasp on material reality as we understand it, because he's just objectively the most unpopular president in American history. He's more unpopular than President Biden was. He's just wildly, incredibly unpopular, not just in terms of his overall approval rating, but also his approval rating on various policy areas.
Yeah, right now he is unpopular. I cannot see Republican supporters. They are endorsing President Trump in the comment section. But I can tell you one thing: when there was an election campaign and the first assassination attempt on President Trump, that he survived during rally, and at that time President Trump was so much popular. I have to admit that. But right now, more than 50% of people, as I told you before, they are disapproving the policies of President Trump.
Harvard Harris poll. I just want to pull something up because I didn't catch that he referenced a specific poll, and I think it's so funny that he did that. So with this idea that if he was on the ballot, it would help. I mean, I suppose it would help increase Republican turnout, right? Because the Republican Party has largely become an authoritarian cult of personality. But no, Trump is wildly unpopular. And so he references this Harvard Harris poll. And the reason I thought it was so damn funny is if you look at a Harvard Harris poll, who had the better economy? Biden 53, Donald Trump 47. So according to that same poll that Trump is touting, more Americans believe that President Biden had the better economy. 65% of independents say the economy was better under Joe Biden, while 35% say Trump's economic record was better, according to a new Harvard Harris poll. And again, it's just so funny. It's like the very poll he's citing.
But President Trump says during the government of President Biden, America was going down and that was the end of America. If I didn't came, that was the end of America, according to President Trump. But now the poll says more than 50% people believe there was a good economy under President Biden.
Actually says that, he's a loser and that people miss the wildly unpopular sleepy Joe Biden. Right? That's how bad Trump is doing in the polls. But again, just pure delusion. Some of the best polling I've ever had. And everyone says the Iran war is going great. Nobody's saying that, except maybe your caretakers in the Oval Office, your handlers. But I digress. Let's continue.
Who is their leadership?
Because just like the Democrats will use the filibuster, will terminate it, just like I will tell you that Iran would use the nuclear weapon if they had it. I deal with these people. I know people. They will use the nuclear weapon, and we're not going to give them a chance to do it. And I actually think it's very popular, what I'm doing. I can tell you worldwide, the world is thanking me because I shouldn't be the one.
No, President Trump, the world is not thanking you. I can tell you. I can tell you the situation of Asian countries. People are hating President Trump so much. Why? Because they are facing inflation due to this war. Can you believe people are paying more than 200% on oil prices? And due to oil prices, due to the spike in the oil prices, everything has become very expensive for the poor people. And they are hating President so much. Before this war in Asia, everybody was, in a kind of love with President Trump. But now everybody is hating, everybody is facing difficulty. I don't know the situation of USA. By the way, tell me your situation, what changes you have seen after this war. Are you feeling any easiness in your life? Are you feeling any positivity in your life after this war? Let me know in the comment section, guys. But President Trump says everybody is thanking me. No, everybody is not thanking you. Remember this, everybody is not thanking you. In fact, everybody is hating you due to this policy, due to this war, because everybody in almost countries, especially in South Asian countries, they are facing so much difficulty. I can't tell you the situation. There are power cuts in the country, South Asian countries, power cuts of 8 to 10 hours a day in the summer. So can you imagine people are, living their life without fan, without air conditioner due to Trump policy. And Trump is saying people are thanking me. So that's not acceptable for me.
That's doing it. Other presidents should have done it long before me. And other countries should have done it. We were not helped by NATO at all. Other countries should have done it.
So again, poll after poll after poll after poll after poll after poll after poll from conservative pollsters, Trump-friendly pollsters, MAGA pollsters are saying the same thing. This war is not popular. Your economy is not popular. You are not popular. It's just a matter of fact. Now, does that necessarily mean, so like, let's entertain the logical question. Just because a thing is unpopular, does that mean it's wrong? Is it possible for a thing to be good, objectively good, or good for a person, a country, a movement, a society, and also be unpopular? Yes. There's not a mutual, like, there's nothing mutually exclusive about that. A thing can be good and unpopular at the same time. I thought Joe Biden was a good president on domestic issues, a great one, certainly in modern American history, but he was unpopular, right? So if Trump wants to make the case,
Yeah.
look, I understand it's unpopular. I understand
I agree to this
a lot of
point.
people have an issue with it, but you know what? I think this is right. Let me make the moral case for this war. So be it. But he can't even do that because I think he knows on some level that even the moral case against this war is pretty thin, right? And then when he says, well, we got to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. I agree that if you ask most Americans, do you think Iran should have a nuclear weapon? The vast majority of them would say, oh, hell no. No, of course not. Because we don't
Yeah.
support nuclear proliferation. Two things I want to note. First is you said you took care of the nuclear weapon potential in Operation Midnight Hammer last year, the 12-day war. You said you totally obliterated their program and their potential.
Yeah.
So again, you were either wrong about that, or you were lying about that, or you're wrong and you're lying now, or some combination thereof.
Yeah, why he attacked again if he obliterated everything, you know? He is exposing President Trump.
But these propositions are mutually exclusive. They can't coexist. You either didn't eradicate their nuclear potential and nuclear program, which meant you were wrong and you lied. Either way, you should apologize and never lie again. Or that's it. Or you did succeed, in which case you're starting this war for a different reason, which is its own whole host of issues. The second thing I want to point out, and you know what? Again, just in real time, I think of these things because I don't script these things, and it's like, I should have had this pulled up. All right, it was Scott Jennings. Sorry, if you saw a cut there, it was because I actually had to stop what I was doing and go find this tweet because I thought I could just pull it up once I thought of it, but I didn't. I had to go search for it. So, second thing I want to point out is, to the extent that Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon, it's all because of Donald Trump, right? So, Scott Jennings, who was recently humiliated by a friend of the show, Adam Mockler, was also humiliated before that by liberal commentator Neera Tanden, liberal Democratic strategist, about the Iran nuclear deal. She says, we had a system where Iran had no nuclear access, no nuclear weapons. Jennings said false. Tanden said they did not have nuclear weapons, and Jennings said they were on the brink. And she says, well, what is a brink? A year, 2 years, 10 years? And so I pointed out, I said, one day Scott Jennings will make a valid point in a debate, but that day will not be today. Because of Donald Trump getting out of the Iran nuclear deal, that was when Iran started to rapidly barrel towards nuclear enrichment, not under Obama, and not because of Obama, but after Trump shredded the Iran nuclear deal. So this is, again, a mess of Trump's own making, right? And I should also point this out, too, because, Trump has a lot to say about the German chancellor. He's really upset about the German chancellor. And I thought I had that clip up, too. I do have that clip, so I'm going to play that clip real quick because it's relevant to the Iran war and to foreign policy.
Then you have the German chancellor, whatever he is, who says that, he disagrees with me on nuclear weapons for Iran. I said, if you disagree with me on nuclear weapons for Iran, you're doing a great disservice to the people of Germany. And, how is he done with Ukraine? I mean, they've been fighting that war long before I got into office.
Well, guys, this is a very bad situation for USA. Why? Because I have not seen this type of situation before, that the NATO, the European countries, they are turning against the policies of USA. For the first time, I'm watching this, in my entire life. It was used as an example in Asian countries that look at the friendship of Europe and USA. They are together in each and everything. And for the very first time, I can literally see they are opposing the policies of USA. You can say USA and you can say President Trump as well, because in the previous months, President Trump actually threatened almost every country, that he will put tariff on them. That's why they started to oppose President Trump policies. So what's your opinion? What's your stance? Let me know in the comment section, guys. It was a very informative video and I really enjoyed it and I gained a lot of knowledge from it. I also gained a lot of knowledge from your comments actually. Please comment under my video. You have great experience about politics. I'm just a student of US politics and you're the teacher. You have to teach me the correct politics of USA. Please consider subscribing if you're new to this channel. When you click on the subscribe button, it actually means a lot to me. I'll bring more important videos for you. Till then, please take care of your health, take care of yourself. It's very important.